Hey, it's your host, Apocalypso, and this is Raidology. Today we'll be discussing about IV. What is an IV in Pokemon Go? IV stands for individual value. Every Pokemon has an individual value. It's like the genetics of the Pokemon. It doesn't matter whether you're powering it up or if you evolve it. Even if it goes to its next evolution, its IV will remain the same. So, back in the day when someone would catch a Pokemon, if they were below 30, the IV would still be the same, but its CP would be different. CP stands for the combat power. The combat power is what people looked at back in the day. But if you take consideration of all the three stats that make up the combat power, that would be your stamina, that would be your attack, and that would be your defense. So you can get a total of 15 for each category. And the higher you got, let's say a perfect would be 100%. So that would be 15 for each category. 15 attack, 15 defense, and 15 HP, which is your hit points, which is your stamina. So finding a Pokemon like that would be extremely rare. But if someone were to find one like that and tell other people, hey, look, this one is a perfect, another Pokemon Go player could catch that, and they could also get a 15-15-15, a perfect Pokemon that the other person just caught, they can catch it for themselves. But the combat power would be different depending on their level. Now, if they were level 30 or higher, the one that they found would be exactly the same. If a level 30 found it, and then if level 38 found it, they would have the exact same Pokemon. It would have the same moveset, it would have the same CP, and it would be the same level. So, let's take a look back now on how it is. When you go and you do a raid and you capture a Pokemon Go raid boss, the IV is now different for every single player that captures that raid boss. And because the IV is different, the combat power will be different. The combat power will be less if the IV is less. So we look at the percentage when we're talking about an IV for the Pokemon. Now, a lot of people, they ask, well, should I invest in this Pokemon? Should I put all my Stardust into this Pokemon if its IV is only, let's say, 82%? Now, back in the day, finding an 82% was actually kind of rare. To find anything that was like 90% or higher, that is. And that was because you could go to a nest and catch a bunch of that Pokemon of that type. And it would be so rare for you to come across a Pokemon that had a 90% IV or higher after you've checked it. So with that taken into consideration, people would go for a lesser IV, say in the 80s, and choose that Pokemon to power it up because it would be almost impossible to come across another Pokemon with a higher IV. Now, it's changed. Ever since the raid system has dropped, people that are able to capture a Pokemon raid boss, they have actually a higher chance to get a better IV. And so if you do enough, you can definitely find one that's in the 90th percentile or higher. And that would be one you would consider investing Stardust in. When you're level 30, it doesn't require too much Stardust to power up your Pokemon. But as you get higher, you'll soon realize that the amount of Stardust that you need to power it up to the max based on your level, the higher you go requires a whole lot more Stardust. Therefore, you really don't want to put in too much Stardust into a Pokemon with very low IV. So this is why you want to choose a Pokemon with at least 90% or higher. So in Pokemon's appraisal system, you have 3 different teams, and each of their phrases are different when you do the appraisal system. For instinct, it will say, your Pokemon can battle with the best of them, and then you want it to say 2 out of the 3 stats, whether it's HP, attack, or defense. And then the last phrase you want to hear is, it's the best I've ever seen. So if you can get all those 2 phrases plus 2 out of the 3 stats, or all 3 stats, then that means you have a really, really good Pokemon, especially if it's all 3, it will be a perfect, 100% IV. Now, for every stat that it states, with the second phrase saying it's the best I've ever seen, then it's 15 for each one of those stats. For Mystic, it's different. It will tell you overall your Pokemon is a wonder, it's breathtaking, and the last phrase that it will state is, it exceeds my calculations. Now, for Valor, it's different. Valor's phrases are, it simply amazes me, then you want 2 out of the 3 stats or all 3, and The last phrase that it will say is I'm blown away by its stats. Now, there are third-party apps that you can use to check your IVs. For iPhone, it's PokeGenie, and for Android, it's going to be Calcy IV, C-A-L-C-Y space IV. That sums it up for IVs. If there's anything else that you'd like to know, please leave a comment and we will respond. Thank you so much. We hope that helped.